Good evening, everyone, and how are we all doing? And welcome to the Sunday Night Takeaway Show. And as you can see, I've got a great panel with me already. How are we doing, Jess?
Oh, good, mate. All good. Yeah. Um, yes. Enjoyed a great neutral game of football today. Classic. Great cup final for me as a neutral. Probably not for Wolfie, obviously, but it was good. And the only thing I'm going to say, these shows, I don't know, they just seem to come around too quick. It only seems like this was done. We did the show this time last week, yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
This is a bit worrying because time's just
You got
flying
through.
too damn quick, man. But yeah, looking forward to the show tonight and on with these bunch of esteemed people. Always a good chat, good laugh, and thanks for having me on again, mate.
No, you're most welcome. Most welcome. And Fuzzy, how are you keeping?
Yeah,
Big up, DJ Graham.
Doing all right. Just surviving, finding coping mechanisms with the absolute. It's like yesterday happens against Fulham and is now immediately the end of the world. Literally, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's like
I know you feel about that, Fuzzy. I know how you feel. World collapsing in and all that.
Literally, that's all it takes. We can go pretty much undefeated in 2024, and it gets to midway towards the end of February to get the first loss. Everyone is absolutely losing it. But that's just Manchester United for you. That's just how it is. That, and now I've changed my background to reminisce of the good times of the Tin Pot Cup.
As DJ Crane saying there, surviving Ten Hag.
Survival of the fittest. I'm
much.
determined to beat every other Man United fan to see the glory days once again.
Evening, Rosie. Are you keeping up? Everyone is well. Yeah, I think we all are so far on that. I mean, how are we doing, Budgie? You all good? I think he's still having trouble with his. You in, Budgie?
I think it's his mic gone.
I think it's your microphone. Can't hear your microphone, Budge. Can't hear your microphone.
No, he's just added his mute.
I'll come to you first, then Wolfie. I'll come to you. Welcome back into the channel, mate. Anyway, it's good to see you.
Mate.
There you are. All you doing? When
Yeah.
Budgie gets connected, we'll hear him soon.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Other than obviously my team lost today in said cup final. We didn't play too badly, but as I said, the finishing, I was kind of like spitting at my TV by the end of it a bit because we'd wasted so many chances. But the only thing I would say, like, fair play to Liverpool on the game. You know, they won it, they took their chances. But why am I getting Liverpool fans coming up telling me that, oh, we fought you against the odds with the kids? I'm like, bro, steady on. You're first, we're 10th. Like, calm it down. Like, the average age of the Chelsea team was like 22 on the pitch, where the average age of the Liverpool team was 25.6. So I don't know why people are telling me about, oh, we beat you with kids. What? We've got nothing but kids. What are you talking about? I appreciate they won, and I'm not going to be humble about it. They don't need to be. But don't come up with me some paper rubbish that you fought against the odds to come back. Like, and I want to ask everyone here quickly: did anyone else think Concedo deserved to be sent off? Because apparently he was the referee was Chelsea's 12th man. And I was like, we got the first goal disallowed. So what are you talking about the referee being our 12th man?
Yeah, it wasn't, that Casado one and that. It was a bit of a.
He was a bit naughty, but he was 50-50. Yeah, I think it was a bit naughty, but it's not bad. I've seen worse. I've seen much, and you've just won a cup. Why are you worried about whether a player got sent off or not?
It's fine. It's the top Reds victim complex. They always feel like the world is coming up against them, but then they've forgotten that there's about several thousand other football clubs on the planet that have officiating BS happen against them. Arsenal have it, Tottenham have it, United have it, City sometimes have it, and of course Chelsea from time to time will have it as well. Everybody gets it.
Yeah.
But it's just it's probably the case that we need to try and see this as a collective issue as opposed to, well, if it
Oh no,
does,
man.
if it favors us, then fantastic. If it doesn't, then
Well, I said to him on the phone, Fuzzy. I said to him like, "Oh right, so on this basis that the Consader should have got a red card, you want the whole game replayed?" He just smirked, and I was just like, "Are you sure?" Because I wouldn't mind. I'll second that notion. We lost it, so I don't mind the replay.
well, that's true. A final's probably the only game in the world that you'll be happy to go get replayed, even if you lost it. You know?
That's what it is.
That's
It is
true.
what it is.
Yeah, obviously, draw got done on Thursday. So, yes, we've got Freiburg away. So, yes, it's going to be a competitive match. Big up the BVB, David. Hope you keep him well. So, it should be interesting. Obviously, AFC always. Tony, Jez, Wolfgang, Hot Fuzz, big up to you guys.
Big up, man.
Hopefully, we might get Budgie back in if he kind of goes from dial-up broadband to Wi-Fi. Well, it might be all right. We'll carry on as it is. So, I don't know if you saw during the week, Monday, Roy Hodgson finally resigns.
Yeah.
Probably the best thing he should have done.
I think so. Yeah. I
Best
think
thing.
About
it's
time.
time. I mean, fair play, respect, massive respect to the man. 76 years of age, still managing in the Premier League. Yeah, fair play. But for his health and his family, I think. I think I said in a previous stream there was a clip of him on the training ground of Palace, and he looked absolutely lost.
Yes.
He looked
Yeah.
like he was like didn't really have a clue that was going on around him. And I think with respect, they played the Palace. They let him rather than they gave him the option to gracefully resign and put his boots up. So he's done his time and respect him for doing that. Yeah, I mean, he's been an icon of football. He's been around football for a hell of a long time. So massive respect to him, and hope he enjoys his retirement now and has a great time of that. And good luck to Palace with your new manager.
Yeah, Oliver Glasner.
Glasner, yeah.
Yeah, Glasner. Budgie, you with us now?
I am now, yeah.
Here he is. He's with us. He's with us.
I'm having trouble. I've got two laptops and I've got one of them gives me so much shit. It's unbelievable. So gone back to the original one.
No, welcome. Well, we're just talking about Roy Hodgson. Obviously, announced his retirement on Monday. We was just all saying, I think it's probably the right decision to make.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, to be fair. When he went back to Palace the last time, it was a bit of a shock for me. I thought he would already retired and stuff, but fair play to him. He's a man that don't go down easy, and he's gone on his own terms. Can't ask for no more than that, can you really?
No, not at all. Not at all. Big up to Creative Guy TV. She liked Jez's analysis. So that's good. We all do. We all like, especially the quiz show. That was a great one on Friday. It really was good.
Oh yeah, it was fun. That was fun. Fair play to the young man.
Yeah, he did well, didn't he? He really did well. He did well.
7 points. It's unfortunate the other two guys couldn't make it from work commitments, but I respect that. Fair play.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack was he was crapping himself a little bit. I said, mate, you'll score. He said, no, I won't get more than 10 points. I said, well, you will. And respect him, man. I mean, he was the one that cost him was the England team in '66, because obviously Kenny went bang, 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 bang. I mean, I only got 8 of the England team myself.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, when I thought about that question, I thought that'd be interesting. And I wrote down the names I knew, and I thought, I can't remember the rest of the team. I mean, I didn't see it live. Obviously, I was born, but I was 5 at the time, so no.
That's good.
But I've watched that replay. God, we all have a million times. So respect for Kenny for getting it bang on. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
good fun.
good.
Man. Good fun.
Let's just catch up on some of the chat. Big up Josh Truguna. Good to see you, matey. Let's just quickly race from this. Big Dick Ends. Sack the West Ham board, offering them up a new contract. It's an effing disgrace. Yes. Apparently it's back on the table again. Moisey getting a contract.
What? Seriously?
Apparently
With the run you guys have been on.
Apparently so.
I reckon you should get a chance of getting Roy out of retirement, mate. Because that's one thing at least sad about Roy, you know, because especially for us being all the 30 pluses or whatever else, yeah, it's just Roy's a tie to the old school sort of football that we proper loved and enjoyed. And because I'm not being funny, right? And I know Fuzzy might be able to relate to this a little bit because of the history of his team, but if you look at how football is now compared to how it was played 10 years ago or 20 years ago, oh boy, lads, are we suffering or what? Have you seen the crap we watch nowadays compared to what we used to watch?
That's the thing, innit? Evening,
By
Jeff.
being a bloody West Ham fan, man.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Oh, there's our favourite friend,
Donald.
Donald. Evening, Helen. How we doing?
Wagwan. Hello, everyone in the chat.
Casado was decent, but Enzo sucked, and overall £250 million midfield was nowhere near good enough. Interesting one.
Well, it wasn't really the midfield. I'd say was Chelsea's problem. I think it was the finishing because I hate this. Is what I said. Like we had 4 1-on-1s with the goalkeeper. 4. Now back in 10 years ago, that would have been execution. You're losing that game 3-0 like that, and that's the thing. It's the problem with modern football is it appears because they try and play it so quickly, they can't do the basic jobs correctly, and that all over the league, defensively or attackingly. Look at the Arsenal game yesterday, and I know Jez will back me up. As much as well as Arsenal played at times, the first half against Newcastle score against themselves with three players trying to get to the ball, and all of them missing. And in the end, it turns to be the Newcastle player that fires it behind the line.
That's true. It is true. Big up JPT. Hope you're keeping well.
My brother.
And a few other bits there. And Daniel Wee, good to see him, the old Spurs fan. Just to put it in perspective, them 3 youngsters that Liverpool subbed on were playing against Stoke under 21s last week. There you go. And that just shows you Klopp's not afraid to play youngsters. Another thing I found out was obviously Nottingham Forest appointing Mark Clattenburg as referee advisor. What do you make of that?
Can you do that?
Well,
if he's retired, I think they can. If he's not active,
well,
All
how
right.
he's bad at is he can do what he wants, I suppose. But I think for me, it kind of opens up a can of worms here because it could be setting a precedent for clubs now actually kind of going against the actual decisions. Making this.
Well, can I ask a question? In that case, because one thing I will say, like, it's interesting you said that Martin Clattenburg's been appointed, is because let's be honest, if they actually enforced the rules how they should be in the first place, would this be an issue? Like, would it not be that the reason why we have this dispute about referees in the first place is because when it comes down to the rules, one referee's interpretation of the rules might be different to another's interpretation of the rules. So getting an advice on the rules that they don't stick to anyway, I think is kind of pointless. Because and it's happened everywhere really. Like, how many times would we actually say the referees have actually gone by the rule book? And I can think of at least 2 occasions off the top of my head straight away. The most obvious one being the Newcastle one, when it even says in UEFA and FA guidelines that if a ball bounces off a player's part of his body before it hits his hand, it's not a handball. They actually disregarded that rule to give PSG the penalty. So I'm not trying to say that it applies necessarily to England because obviously it's Europe, but you have to look at it in, like you said, the whole can of worms. Because if you got to look at officiating, you can't just look at it in England, and the whole system needs to be overhauled, not just in England or whatever else. And I follow a bit of world football, so it's not just in England it needs to be renovated. Decisions all over are bad. It doesn't matter if you go in Italy, if you play in Europe, or if you go in Spain, or if you play in England. Decisions are bad anyway. So before you can be advised on the law, you might want to actually figure out what the law is.
Fact. Football's got too complicated now. The laws of the game back in when I was refereeing were, simple. You had the 18 laws of the game with very minor little subsections to interpret. Now, when I last, it is complicated to hell. As you just said, Fuzzy, if the ball hits a part of the body, then hits the hand, it's not handball. Okay, well, that's a sensible thing. It's always been like that. It was always hand to ball, not ball to hand.
Yeah.
That was the way I was taught when I was learning to become a referee. Yeah. It was basically handballs from there, right, to there. Yeah. That was handball. Right? Yeah, you stick your hand up there and in a defensive role in the penalty box, handball. Yeah. Penalty. Quite easy. Now the offside law, dear God almighty. It was so easy. Now you've got to have a gnat's toe and you're offside.
Well, that decision in the game between Chelsea and Liverpool today, the Chelsea goal that was ruled off, that was ruled off because of the back of what's his name, the Chelsea player. It was the back of his
Jackson.
hand was over the line.
Yeah. Even though they
Jackson,
say that the parts of the body you don't play with your ball with don't count as offside.
Yeah, but clearly they do because it was given offside today because of the back of a hand.
Exactly, buddy. That's why the rules don't make sense because they don't even apply them. So it doesn't make sense. I was living at that because because when that goal went in, we're all sitting there thinking, "Hang on a minute, what's wrong with it?"
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I didn't see anything wrong with it, and then when they showed the lines sort of at half time and stuff, I was like, really? That's what they're giving offside for now? That's just ridiculous.
I think there was Budgie now. It must be an absolute headache. You must be if you're a top flight referee. I was never that level, but you must go out there thinking you must be so tense going into a game because you've got to get it bang on. We all, anybody that's refereed, I remember having a conversation. It was it was actually a FA Cup, very early round, amateur level of the FA Cup, where any team can enter, and this team got absolutely battered 10-0, right? And 5 minutes before the end of the game, a guy he's a defender, did an absolute classic double hand save to stop it making it 11-0. And I had to send him off. Game's done. 11. It would have been 11-0. I had to send him off, give him a penalty. It ended up 11-0. After the game, the manager came up to me and said, "Why did you send him off?" I said, "I had to. It's the laws of the game. It's an instant red card. He handballed the ball, and he prevented a goal scoring opportunity. That's what it says in the law of the game." But he said the game was over. I said, "Oh, no, it wasn't actually. There was still 5 minutes to go." So therefore, he had to be sent off. Well, he said, "That's a bloody awful mistake by you, ref." And I went, "Fair enough. You can say that if you want." But let me say, that's probably the one and only thing I got right during the game. And he went, he looked at me, he went, "Oh, fair enough then." Shook hands and walked off.
Go on, Jez, get stuck in, son.
That's right.
Evening, Dirk Diggler. How you doing?
Hello, Anthony.
I got to
Someone
say
did
thank
document
you to
my
everybody in the chat for the love that they've shown with it.
I'll change that.
Dirk Diggler.
That's brilliant.
I'll send you one.
We all know what that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was about to ask, what have you been up to?
I think we all know what we're going to call.
I bet you've clipped that as well, ain't you, Tim?
Not at all, but I'm sure someone will be.
Catch the replay if you need to.
That's for sure.
Let's get a VAR check on that.
That's the one. That's the one. I just see Rosie's put up here. Chris Nichols has died. Apparently, the ex-Southampton, Northern Ireland, and Villa defender.
But no,
Oh, no, really.
sorry to hear.
Oh, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Losing a lot of legends recently.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I mean, obviously on Tuesday, Andreas Bremer, German legend and World Cup winner, died aged 63.
And we lost yesterday, didn't we? QPR legend player. I forgot his bloody name now.
Stan Bowles.
Oh,
Stan
Bo.
Bowles.
Dan Bowles, yeah, cool, blimey, yes, yeah.
I'm about to say QPR, who are they?
Oh, easy now. Easy.
Hey, listen, I watched that Stan Bowles when he was playing, you know, and he was a baller. I'm telling you, there was nothing half-hearted about that man. Every single challenge he went in at 100%. You know, everything he did was 100%. Great player.
Those days they
sad
did
lot.
though. Those days everyone did go in 100%. That's why we
Yeah,
missed it so much.
Yeah,
They were real footballers then, Budgie. They were,
yeah, that's true, mate. Proper men.
you know, people like Derek Dugan and Billy Bremner and Johnny Giles,
Yeah.
Peter Lorimer, they were
Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, all of them. I mean,
What was
the
that
thing
other
is-
one? Chopper Harris, wasn't it?
Roy Chopper
Chopper
Harris,
Harris.
played for
Yeah,
Chelsea,
Roy,
mate.
Yeah.
Big
But you know
Chopper.
what?
What was
He
Chelsea?
owns a fishing location down in Devon now. He's owned it for, God knows, about 50 years or 40 years or something now. He turned up at the side of the lake one time when I was down there fishing with my brother and a couple of pals. And yeah, he was a great guy, really, really nice guy. And, you know, you wouldn't know that he was as revered as he was on the pitch when you sort of stood and talked to him, because he was just like an average guy, you know, wearing a pair of Wellington boots that had been half chewed up by his bloody pointer or whatever, you know, and he was such a nice guy. No, seriously, his boots were all chewed up, and you know, he was coming around collecting all the peg money, they call it when you go fishing, and or peg fees. And he was just like really. It was only because my brother's a Chelsea fan. He recognised him. I never did, you know. And yeah, he's such a good guy.
Well.
Really, really nice guy.
I can remember him on this seems a little sad now, but obviously on the jungle with Ant and Deck, he went on there and he had to go along these zip wires and collect these stars, which was quite a fight. And I think he got like 4 stars. And he came back and he said, and I think one of them said to him, he said, Chopper, he said, how did you find that then? He said, well, anybody that voted me to go and do that, you can go and bollocks, because I ain't doing it again. I remember him saying it.
I can't imagine Anthony sitting there watching I'm a Celebrity. Is anyone else thinking like, well, you can see
You
I'm
know.
a Celebrity getting about it?
Well,
What's
it's
going
one
on?
of those. It's one of those things. It's one of those secret things, like, you know, you watch in the background sort of thing.
All right, you keep it in the cupboard, do you? All right, no.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love you, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Damn secret site.
So fair comment there by Rosie as well. That massive rise in older footballers suffering from dementia linked to headers. I think this was highlighted before, wasn't it? This one.
Those old
Yeah.
80s and 70s leather balls, mate, they didn't play around. They were thick, round, blobby type of balls, man.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah.
fly-away
And they,
pads.
as you said, they were leather and they used to hold water, so they used to gain
Oh,
about
yeah.
2 pounds during the game.
Yeah.
Incredible. Honestly, I mean, I've come off of the pitch before, and I was only a Sunday league footballer, you know, and I've come off the pitch before now with a neck ache because of heading the ball. You know, it's like a medicine ball once it gets all that water in it. Horrible.
Yeah.
Budgie, my hairline used to be all the way at the back of my head before I started headering the ball. That's why. That's why it's gone back a bit.
They were
Very
made
good
the old leather ones. They were made of pigskin. weren't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
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 And you know, the yellow laces. I mean, when I was a little kid, 10, 11, you know, by the time, the reason I'm shorter than I should be is because the amount of times I've headed the ball and it used to make me get shorter.
Stumped his growth, mate. Stumped his growth for long. That.
The amount of times you would head the ball and it'd have an imprint of the laces on the forehead.
Bloody head. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what he should have done as
Wrong.
well.
If you got it wrong and it landed on that part of your head, my God, you know about it.
Yeah.
They should have reinvented stretchers to quite literally re-stretch the players out again instead of taking them off the pitch.
Oh, dude, this is fucking sponge days, man. What about stretch up? Be a man, walk off. What are you talking about?
What's that? You
Get
put
out,
two
walk
broken legs, mate. Walk it
off.
off.
A wet sponge, mate. There you go. That's what you get for a broken leg. A wipe down with a sponge.
There's
On you go.
there's very few players now that could literally play in that era, though, isn't there?
Nah.
I mean,
No,
like, I mean, like, I can only really sort of speak about West Ham because they're the only team I watch regularly. But Thomas Souček, as much as he gets stick for being vacant a lot of the game, he is one of them old school players that would, you know, stick his head in the wrong place, get himself stitched up, and walk back out like 3 minutes later. He is one of them players, and there aren't many of them. You know, I think Van Dijk, you know, as big and as strong as he is, I think he takes a knock. He's gone, mate. He ain't one of them big, strong lads.
They're all
that
teddy
they're
bears
used to.
now, Budgie. They're all teddy bears. Trust me.
That's about right. That's about
well,
right.
unless you're the Arsenal medical team and and you just put your players back on regardless if they're injured or not. You just go back on again, basically.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Mind
No,
you,
that's
David
true.
Moyes ain't much better, though, is he, really, to be fair, Tony?
No, it is
He's
very
done the
true,
same
mate.
with Paqueta, and then we've lost him for another 6 weeks because of it.
But
Yeah.
hang on,
you
wasn't
know,
Brian Clough known for playing injured players though? Because I remember hearing Mark Crossley say once that he had a broken finger while playing for Forest, and his finger was all that snapped back and everything. And he came, a drunk Brian Clough come up to him and said, "Can you play for me, young man? Just one more half."
Yeah,
You know,
true.
because I need to find the. I think he was on the under the Kosh podcast, but it was just the way he come out because he actually did the impression. So he's like, "Can you carry on playing for me?" I'll try, Gaffer. Fuck knows what's going to happen. You know, his fingers all taped up. So you know,
Yeah,
they did.
that was his nickname as well, wasn't it? He used to go, what was it? Brian Clough, you go, "Oi, shit house.
Shit
How you
out,
doing?"
shit out,
That was what they called him.
young man. Are you going to play for me? Well, go and get your boots. Go and get your fucking gloves and all.
Stuart Pearce has got a few decent stories about Cloughie, hasn't he?
That's
Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I've seen a few of them. I think Mark Crossley told one. They were playing against it was Forest against the Crazy Gang, Wimbledon, and they're in the dressing rooms and they're playing. And Vinnie Jones walks in. He got like the old
Ghetto blaster. Yeah,
and he's there, and he's providing, and he's a guy, the assistant manager. He called him Illy or something like that. He went,
Illy.
Billy.
Leo.
yeah, go down there and tell them to lower that music down. And he goes down there, he lowers it down, then he lowers it back up. Well, anyway, he just kept carrying on. So Brian Clough, he walked down, he said he kicked the fucking door in, he said picks up the ghetto blaster, smashed it on the floor, and he turned around and went, "Now play your fucking music, Wimbledon."
Yeah.
That's superb. Just shouting out to DJ Crane. Got to head out, guys. Catch the rest on playback. Take care all in the chat. See you soon.
Okay, dude.
Take it easy,
Nice one,
mate. See you
DJ.
shortly.
See you,
shortly.
DJ.
And what's he say? Arsenal eyeing a move for Ajax goalkeeper Dane Ramage as a possible replacement for Ramsdale. Interesting.
Okay.
I'm fed up with all this debate with
Hold
Ramsdale.
hold on. Can we rewind that a minute? Hang on a minute. An Arsenal fan is talking about replacing Ramsdale already, and yet they're all up in arms about him being replaced by
Raya.
Right.
Raya. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a bit strange. I mean, that's kind of a weird conversation to be getting into, I think, already.
I think it's paper talk, really.
Is it?
I think that's paper because one thing about it is that's one thing area that Arsenal have not been short on goalkeepers, and to stir up even more of a hornet's nest because I know quite a few Arsenal fans. They are really pissed off about this Arsenal situation considering the amount of them they've had. It's like us, the strikers, they can't seem to find a fit. It's a bit weird.
I mean, I find it weird that Raya's getting in before Ramsdale anyway. I find that strange. Although, having said that, I always fancied having Raya at West Ham. I've got to be honest, because I think he's a decent keeper. But I think Ramsdale's a better keeper, so what's keeping him out of the side?
Yeah.
You know, other than
Yeah,
catching back.
That's my opinion.
Distribution.
I think Ramsdale, well, is a known fact which has been told. I don't know if Jez is going to agree with me, but is been told that Ramsdale is the better shot stopper than Raya, but Raya is better on his feet. They're like moving around that goal, like that 6-yard box. Apparently, it weighs it up. But with me, how I like football, I've always said if you've got a goalkeeper, if one of them's the better shot stopper than the other, then surely that's your first team goalkeeper. But
playing out from the back. It's playing out from the back. That's why goalkeepers, they're like a sweeper now as well as being a goalkeeper. You got to be able to play out from the back and make lasting. Look, what's that boy from Tottenham? Vicario. If you want to talk about, if you want to talk about who's the last defender as well as the goalkeeper, he's that. Because the amount of times I've seen that guy run off his, and it's not okay. I never thought I'd say this, but I think they probably got the best goalkeeper in the Premier League at the minute because
I agree.
Not just because of his ability, because he makes the least mistakes out of everybody else. And I'm going to quietly sneak Petrovic's name in there as well, because he was one of the few Chelsea players actually that did play well. Because he made some.
He did have a good game today. I've got to be honest.
And he got a foot in the face. Good on him.
Yeah. He was immense today. I've got to be honest. Though he was a better of the two goalkeepers. I've got to be honest. They were both good.
Rosie's causing mischief.
I think the difference. The thing, the thing about Ramsdale, who's the better goal stopper? Well, I think you have to look at the last 7 games. How many goals has Raya conceded?
Yeah,
hardly none.
Yeah, and the fact that Ramsdale at times, I will go with. I think at times a weakness with Raya. Sometimes he stands too far off his line, but that can be coached. Right.
Yeah.
With Ramsdale, at times his decision making on his distribution was poor. His communication with his defence at times was poor, and he cost us in a few games at the latter part of last season. Yeah, and the difference with Raya is he's a lot more commanding. He gets involved with his defence, and you can see him. He's bollocking.
It's a similar argument to what we have with Areola and Fabianski, to be fair.
I mean, they're
much more mobile.
They are, Ramsdale, Raya. They're both very good goalkeepers. Let's not get that right. Get it wrong. Sorry. At the end of the day, right now, if we talk about right now, for me, Raya is the better goalkeeper.
Okay.
Or all round, or as a shot stopper?
All round. I mean, look at how many goals he conceded in the last 7 games.
Yeah. A lot of that's been down to your defence as well. But I agree with what you're saying.
But he's working with his defence.
Yeah. A lot more than Ramsdale does. You mean?
That's my point. That is my point. I like both of them. But unfortunately, we're not going to keep Ramsdale because he wants to be number 1.
Yeah.
I can't see him being number 1 ever again. I think Arteta, rightly or wrongly, has made the decision he's going to go with Raya, and he'll be an Arsenal permanent player in the summer. Because let's be honest, he's on loan at the moment.
Yes, of course,
from Brentford.
Yeah, but the amount of game time he's getting, Jez, surely that obligation to buy has got to have been invoked by now, surely.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He'll be an Arsenal player come permanent.
They've already done the deal, and that it's just they can't actually announce it yet because of the rules. But I think you're right. And fair play. He is a good goalkeeper. He is a very, very good goalkeeper. You watch Aaron Ramsdale end up at West Ham, though. Fabianski, we got him around about after the Arsenal thing, and it actually proved to be one of the best goalkeepers we've had in many years.
Yeah.
You know, he's been reliable for West Ham. And I've not got a bad thing to say about Fabianski. I really haven't. I prefer Areola, much better goalkeeper in my opinion. He commands his box a lot more. He gets off his line quicker, etc., etc. But you know, I think that Ramsdale is very much a Fabianski style goalkeeper, where he would rather rely on his defence to be his back line, you know, like his last line of defence, and then he has to do what he has to do at the end of it all. I don't think Ramsdale is as keen to, you know, be a part of that back line. You know, I think he relies on them too much. Whereas Raya, as you said, Jez, you know, he's one of the players that really does gets his foot in, you know, as it were, kind of thing, you know. So, you know, I think Arsenal have kind of given themselves a real big headache though, and if they're still talking about getting another goalkeeper in, you know, that can't be good for Ramsdale as he is, surely, you know.
Yeah.
And he's been so good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the problem with look, what team has gone through 7 goalkeepers in 4 years?
Mm.
I can't think of another Premier League
Can't
team.
name one, no.
You know, the thing is with Raya, he reminds me a little bit of a Lukic type, stroke Layman type. He's a bit in between them two, because he's very commanding. He's vocal. The one thing that needs to be coached out of him is the Seaman bug, where Seaman used to be caught out getting lobbed because he'd come out a little bit too far at times and get caught. And the argument about shot stopping, you know, I can't criticise either of them. At the end of the day, what I look at in a goalkeeper is a shot stopper, a commander of the box, because you own that box, right? You own that box, right?
Yeah.
It's down to you to bollock your defenders and say, you're not doing your job, fella.
Yeah.
You're not doing it. So
that's why you've got to have a captain in every single line of your players. You know, you've got to have one in goal. You know, a metaphorical goal captain. You've got to have one in goal. You've got to have at least one in defence, at least one in midfield, and if you're lucky, you get one up front as well. But I think, you know, I'm an advocate for goalkeepers being captains. I think it's
I agree with you.
They see everything, you know. You know, and a decent goalkeeper like the likes of Alisson and, you know, all of those top names, Raya, Areola, any one of them, that they can play the game as well as shot stopper and that. But the one thing they've got to be able to do is they've got to be able to have a chance in a penalty situation. And I think Ramsdale is the one that has more more chance of saving a penalty than Raya. I think he's a better penalty keeper, personally. I mean, I'm an outsider looking in. You guys, you know, well, Jez and Anthony, you both watch Arsenal a lot. You can probably tell me better than that. But you know, I think Ramsdale. If you were looking at a penalty shootout scenario, what keeper would you pick out of the two? Because for me, at West Ham, it would be Fabianski.
For me, it'd be Ramsdale. It'd be
That's what I
Ramsdale.
thought. Yeah. What about you, Jez?
Penalty shootout. I'd have to go with you on that. I'd have to go with Ramsdale personally.
Yeah, I think he's got more chance of being successful.
Yeah.
Than Raya. I think Raya's a little bit impetuous in that respect.
The thing is, Budgie, you can never get. You know, there's never a perfect player, is there?
No.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Wolfie, would you say, you know, sorry, Wolfie, Budgie, I mean, Wolfie, would you say about Daniel East comment here about Courtois, not great at playing out of the back, but look at the Champions League final. He shot stopping one Real Madrid that final. I mean, obviously he was a great keeper for you guys, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And to be honest, we kind of found a throwback to him sort of in Petrovic in terms of, because one thing about Courtois, and I do big up what Bodgie's saying about, there's certain goalkeepers when you look at him, whether there's shot stopping, set pieces or penalties, like if you've got a goalkeeper with presence, it helps a lot. And one thing about it is, like Jez was saying a minute ago, like even if he's not the captain, you still want your goalkeeper to be very vocal, because obviously he organizes defense and set pieces and stuff like that. You know, that's the one person the defenders can't block his line of sight. You know, that kind of thing. So he's always a central figure, and obviously one that's brave, determined to win, shouts, gets about himself. You know, puts himself about a bit. You know, like you would want that, innit? Because you don't want him to be bullied. Particularly in the Pro, because even though, let's be honest, there are some cuddly teddy bears out there, but some of them are big boys, and they do throw themselves around a bit. So you need that. But the only thing about Raya myself is sometimes he doesn't play out from the back and properly, in terms of sometimes you just need to get rid of the ball more than look for a pass. And we had the same thing with Sanchez. Because it's this modern thing that goalkeepers have to be able to use both feet and all that kind of thing. It's like, just get rid of the fucking ball. That's for me, regardless if you're playing or not. That's job number one for any goalkeeper, whether you can do 100 kick-ups or not, whether you can make a 50-yard pass or not. You keep the ball out of the net. And that's why I have, because I gave an example a minute ago for Cario. 9 times out of 10, he's running around the pitch looking like a nutter. He ain't playing out from the back. But yet somehow he's possibly the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, and he can't play out. Everyone says Alisson and Edison. I don't want to hear this Pep Guardiola Klopp model stuff about, you have to play out from the back, because a lot of teams aren't even good enough to do it, and that's why they get into trouble so much.
No, it's true.
They get in transition, and it's just seems to be the football, because that's the one thing I will say I miss about football maybe 10, 15 years ago compared to now. The styles of the teams. Everyone looks exactly the same. Stoke, right, okay, I'll give you an example. Chelsea, we used to be back in the day kind of like European in the way we played, so we were a little bit slow, but we could find ways to cut you open. Man United would always play with intensity. Arsenal would always play with class because they would pass you to death. Liverpool would outwork you. West Ham, just like Stoke, they could be technical West Ham, but they could use shithousery as well. Stoke was pure shithousery. The rating, I tell you what, even okay, I can only imagine, because Jez has probably been there a few times, but I can only imagine as a player, let alone for the fan, what it's like going on a shit night at Stoke. Cold, windy, horrible, hostile. The journey up there is going to be bad. The journey back there is going to be bad.
Horrible. It is horrible as an away fan in Stoke. It is actually. It's not very nice at all.
Well, there you go. And it's just one of those ones where that's the thing, because, and this is one thing I hate about, and as I said, every team has kind of lost their identity in one form or another, in the sense of, because we all try and, how can I put this? We all see a successful model, and it's kind of, and in a way, football's kind of paralleled meet that social media, in the sense of we see one person on top, and everyone else copies that person to try and get on top as well, doing the same thing they do, even though we know we're not as good as them because they're already on top for said reason, and we're, in my team's case, 10th. You know, it's true, because I'm not being funny. Like, I've seen my team pre-Abramovich, and I always say this as a Chelsea fan. Right, look, 1905, not 2006. Right, or 2004, because like I've seen my team do that before. So what I'm seeing right now isn't that much of a horror to me. So I know, like from the 90s, we went from 10th to 7th to 5th to 4th, and then we competed. So I don't mind. It's just the patience is not there anymore, and the identity is not there anymore. That's what hurts the most.
Of course.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like what we said, but I mean, you look at Chelsea over the years. I mean, they've had some fantastic goalkeepers over the years. I mean, I can go back, but let's pick one out. Is it Ed De Hoy, the Dutch guy?
Yeah,
he was brilliant. Kudicini was another one under Mourinho. He was brilliant. But you know, I mean, going back like with Chelsea, I mean, we can remember when. I mean, I think it was when Glenn Hoddle came in as a player coach. And they had the likes of Gavin Peacock and Mark Steen up front, I think it was. and they were
Yep.
their top goal scorers for quite some time.
Time,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
93
Yeah.
times, yeah. 92 times, yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
but then
Yeah,
after
of course.
that, obviously things got better, and and Mourinho and all of that, and
What the
Claudio
thing is,
Ranieri.
Well, the thing is, right, it's funny you mention that, Anthony, because someone comes up to me. I was arguing with one of Jez's favorite people to deal with, a guy called Deji, a Spurs fan, right? And he went to me, "Oh, you guys were nothing before Abramovich." So I stopped. I was like, "Hang on a minute, wait. You said before Abramovich, yeah?" He goes, "Yeah, you guys were nothing before you got your sugar daddy." And I said, "Hang on a minute. In 2004 to 1994, in that the 10 years before Abramovich, we won 6 trophies. How many did Spurs win?"
None.
He went quiet, and I was just like, so even before we got Abramovich, we were still
Yeah.
banging like more trophies than you. Oh no, 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 no! And I was like, what do you mean, no, 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 no? Like we had Champions League football before we got Abramovich. We had FA Cups before Abramovich. We had European Cups before we had, even though it wasn't a daddy one, granted, we did have European trophies before Abramovich. All he did was help us get to Champions League final, win it, and the Premier League. Literally that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
It was Ruud Gullit and Gianluca Vialli was winning new trophies at that time as well, wasn't they?
Yeah, Cup Winners' Cups, and we
Winners'
beat Barcelona 3-1 at Stamford Bridge in the 90s. Most
Yeah.
teams can't do that. Even looking back for the whole history from now to then, can't even say they've done that.
No, it's
But
true.
don't worry, we were nothing. And we beat Real Madrid in the European Cup final as well. In was it 97 when we won the European Super Cup or 98? So it's just like when people say to me, "Oh, Chelsea didn't exist before Abramovich," it's, what the fuck are you talking about? You didn't even watch football before Abramovich.
When you go through keepers and that, do you agree with Pepsi Pack here? Peter Schmeichel's the best Premier League keeper, in my opinion.
Mm.
Great.
That's a
Great
good
keeper.
shout. It's a really
Yeah.
good shout.
Yeah, I mean, for a
Really
while,
good
it was between you had to pick. And I'm not being biased when I say this. It was actually between him and David Seaman
Mm.
at that period of time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
another class keeper.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, Emi Martinez, you should never have sold him.
What about Leno?
Legend.
I don't know.
Well, he's not legend, but he's a. I don't know. This is what annoys me sometimes with our manager in what we do. It falls out of people, doesn't give them the respect I think that some of these players deserve. And as I said previously, tell me another Premier League football club, right, in 4 years, has bought 7 goalkeepers.
We tried, but we couldn't match that. And we spent, man.
They've bought everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, but he's not bullshitting. Everyone.
It's just ridiculous. And here we are. Apparently, I'm not going to put any faith in this at all. Look at this guy from Ajax. Why would a goalkeeper? I don't know what this guy. I don't know if he's a first team player for Ajax. I don't. I'm not going to say I do. I don't. If he is first team goalkeeper for Ajax, right? And Arsenal are going with David Raya, as Budgie said, we must have now ticked over the line to say, right, you've got to buy. That's it. He's your player now. Why would if he is a first team player for Ajax, why would he want to come and be a number 2 at Arsenal? Why?
Yeah.
He'll have assurances, surely, wouldn't he?
Assurances of what? Playing in the Carrier Bag Cup.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, look, Arsenal are now getting European football, regardless of what competition it is. Arsenal will finish this season in a European place. So
Yeah.
any goalkeeper given the opportunity to come to a club to play the European stuff, I'm talking about experience we had with Areola as a loan player, and he came as a loan player. He played the domestic cups and he played the European games that we were playing, which was the Europa League at the time. And then the following season, he signed a permanent contract, knowing he was going to be fulfilling that role again,
If he's at
with
Ajax,
assurances
got
that
European
the
football.
following season, the season we're in now, he will be our league goalkeeper. And Fabianski has just signed another year's extension, I've been told. So we've got him until, well, not just, but recently. So we've got him now until January again.
Fair
apparently.
enough. Yeah, okay. But Ajax are in European football, so why wouldn't he want to stay there, mate?
Well, I would personally rather than go to a club where you're not sure that you're going to get the minutes on the pitch, regardless of who it is, even if it was West Ham. If you're a number one goalkeeper where you are, and you're going to go to you're up for a move going to another club, then clearly you want to be number one when you get there. Areola was always a number two goalkeeper. He'd been on loan a few times. He was at Fulham. He was exceptional at Fulham, actually. He saved them from having a lot of like double-figured games, I think, because he was brilliant at Fulham. And that's why we took him on loan, because of what he did at Fulham the previous season. So this Ajax goalkeeper, he's either if he's gonna come to Arsenal or any other club, he's gonna have assurances that he's gonna get first team football in one respect or the other. Mikel Arteta doesn't come across as the sort of player that will give anybody any assurances. If I'm honest,
I have to agree with you on that. I don't know. I'll wait. Look, Arsenal get linked with everybody, don't they? Right, and a lot of this, I think, is a lot of these players. It's their agents that punch it out there. Maybe the guy's looking for a move. Maybe he is. And what's the first club you're going to link your player with? Arsenal. That's what Arsenal do.
I've just read, Fuzz, I've just read your comment about the Rashford thing. That's actually, is that really a thing? You can't say anything against him because you're going to be classified as a racist.
Yep.
Come on, tell me about that, please.
Not
that I've experienced it myself, but I know that there are these mobs, these groups of people who follow each other. They interact with each other, and they're quite vocal with when you criticise a player in your squad. And the stupid thing about it, right, is you'll get it with all sorts of players. You have the proud supporters of those players, and they're kind of on the side of Player FC. The annoying thing about this Rashford mob is that it's not just people who are apologists for him and say, "Oh yeah, Marcus Rashford, but look at what he's done for the club. Look at where he's come from. He's Mac born and bred." I'm like, well, first and foremost, we don't care if you're playing the way you are. You're surplus to requirements, and you're not bigger than this club. So if you're not doing the job on the pitch, then we want you gone. End of story. End of discussion. So when they've run out of all things to say that actually are logical in backing Rashford after what he's doing on the pitch for this season and previous seasons gone by, they say, "Oh, you must have a problem with him. So yeah, that makes you racist. You're racist because you don't like him. It's only him as well. You and your player agendas. You don't like that player. You only want to call that one player out. It's just the agendas. Your racist agendas. Like,
yeah.
No, it's not. When a player plays poorly, it's like with Bruno Fernandes. Are we? What is it? Not racist, but the other word against like nationalities, like bias
Discriminating.
Yeah.
B&P. No, joking.
Yeah, it's like they'll call you out as though you're being discriminatory against that person because of
his nationality or whatever. Yeah,
nationality, ethnicity, because they've run out of excuses to actually back these people. And honestly, it's honestly sick and tiring. And there's a few people that I see on Twitter.
We had a very similar situation at West Ham with Ben Rama, in the fact that he was a highly rated player within the club. And, you know, that kind of spilled out to us fans, and we were excited about him. And, you know, when he was at Brentford and everything, he was very good. But, you know, he didn't meet up to the expectations of the club, all the supporters. And we were very critical of him as a fan base. But not once did anybody say it was because he was a Algerian or a Muslim, or that his skin wasn't white, or that he wasn't born at West Ham's catchment area. It was because he was a shit player. You know, it was because he wasn't a shit player, but he was playing shit for us because the level of competition was too much for him. He's now gone to France and he's playing out of his skin. So, you know, we weren't wrong. So, you know, for people to try and insinuate and imply that it's because of their race, religion, whatever, or their sexuality, because I know people get stick for that.
I love that whole thing. That makes me laugh.
You know, I mean, I do. I find it like comical, but it's fucking sad as well. Sorry, excuse me for swearing, but that's proper sad.
Yeah,
you know, when you've got nothing constructive to say, you just come out with, "Oh, you're a racist, mate. You're just a."
Let me just butt in before anything else. Welcome to Lawrence Watkins. Good afternoon, evening from Lexington, Kentucky, USA. Coming you irons. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, mate. Good pal of mine.
Go on, Wolfie. You was going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, the thing is, right, this is the other transition in what Budgie was just saying about from modern football to old school football. Back in those days, those kind of things weren't relevant. That's why. And that's the thing. Like, and everyone has their followers on social media, and because of that, everyone will be the first one to make an excuse for them, if you know what I mean. Like, and I hear what Budgie's saying, because some of the things that are tied into football have nothing to do with football. Like, for example, I'm all big for whatever kind of sexuality you want to be, but what's the difference between a gay and a straight footballer? They both kick a fucking ball. What's the difference? So, okay, so fair enough. All right, I get the fact of when it comes to your social standings, in terms of what you might do away from the training ground, I can understand that you might not see eye to eye. But realistically, you're a professional like any other profession. You're paid to be there to do a certain job. No offense, whether you bite pillows behind closed doors is irrelevant. no, for real, it's irrelevant.
True. No, it's true. It's the way it is now, isn't
Wait,
it?
I'm not being disrespectful. When I see a Chelsea player go to take a corner, I'm not worried about how many guys he's banged. Serious? No, serious. In what context does
and it's this day and age, though, isn't it? It is definitely day and age.
It's sad because one thing about it is, right, and then the thing is, and this is the one thing I really hate about the social media side of football, is a lot of people will make judgments of you, but when you try and explain it to them, you'll be like, hang on, no, this is why I think they're a crap player. Oh no, you're wrong. What do you mean? I've given you a fact and you've given me bullshit, but somehow I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And with social media, there's always someone to make an excuse. Like, and we all have it in our own fan bases now, where some way, somehow, our fan bases are split. That never happened back in the day. If you were a Chelsea fan, you're a Chelsea fan. If you were a Man United fan, you're a Man United fan. If you're a West Ham, when did this? Oh, Arteta in and out, Wenger in and out, Poch in and out, Moyes in and out. Just get me the guy that will do the job. Forget all this in and out malarkey. If someone's in here and he's not doing the job, get rid of him and bring someone else in.
No,
that's it. All this about there's always excuses, man.
That's always been the way, though, hasn't it? Really, you know.
Yeah,
it's always been the way.
They don't find a good excuse, we'll make one.
The trouble is, I think a lot of this nonsensical chat comes around. They're you know, back in the day in the 70s, 80s, there was, of course, a lot of homophobia, a lot of racism, unfortunately. And, you know, you look at players like Billy Bonds, you know, great footballer, but look at the crap he had to put up with. Yeah. And one of the things I think has twisted things all around the wrong ways is social media.
Cool.
I mean, you know, I was watching earlier today. Northside did a great channel with a guy, Halftime Hooks, Arsenal fan. Never seen him before. I thought, oh, this would be interesting, and it was interesting and all that. But the hate in Northside's chat, in the comments.
Mm.
I think, why are you watching him then? And
Yeah.
all I say to these people is, if you've got the balls, right? If you've got the real balls, go on camera and say it to his face. Because 99% of these little muppets, right, haven't got the bollocks to do it. Because they're all little plastics sitting around the corner in their bed, right, stuck to their bloody bed sheets, yeah, after they've been tossing one off over Arteta, right? If you're going to call out a proper Arsenal fan, then go on stream and call it to his face. I've said that to people to me.
Yeah,
You know,
I've heard you.
Yeah.
come and talk to my face. Yeah, call me out and come and talk to my face. Can we have a debate about it as adults? But they never ever do. I mean, I opened a can of worms last year when I did that history stuff about the firms. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. My God, have I had it for that one? Because, you weren't there, you don't know, you shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. And I've
Yes,
said
he was. Yes, he was there. Sorry.
like giving it. Oh, you didn't mention these four blokes. I said, if you listen cleverly, I said I was never going to mention names. Oh, you didn't mention this guy. You didn't mention that guy. Oh, I was there. Oh, you don't know because you weren't there in the 90s. Actually, I was there. And a lot of what I talked about was in the 70s. It didn't happen in the 70s. I think it did.
It started in the 70s. What?
Carried on.
It started about fucking 1968, actually.
Yeah.
But, you
Yeah,
know,
it did.
you can't talk to idiotic, thick people.
No, of course not.
We've
Of
all
course
been
not.
there. I mean, Budgie, you're the same age as me, so you know the crap,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You know
oh,
what
mate,
it's
I've
about.
seen it all. I mean, I've
You
seen.
can- you
Yeah,
come around-
I was at Clyde Best's first game. Now, a lot of people think that Clyde Best was one of the first black players in the league. He wasn't. There were a few before him and a number of years before him. In fact, I think the first black player that was fielded by Tottenham, if I'm right. I believe so. But, you know, when I saw Clyde Best's first game and people were throwing bananas at him, fuck's sake. I mean, what's that all about? It's ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous that the way that people conduct themselves sometimes is so laughable.
He
And,
did.
you know, I felt so sorry for the guy, but in fairness, you know, he was a big lad and he coped with it. He coped
Go
with
with
it
it. Go
on
with
the
it.
outside anyway. You know, I mean, what went on in his mind and stuff, I'd love to chat to himself and ask him
and
them
find out.
questions, you know, but, you know, on the outside, he appeared to deal with it and so on and so forth. And many other players have, you know, before and since, you know, all sorts of discrimination. I'm not just talking about racism here. I'm talking about any kind of discrimination. And, you know, there was a comment from Pain Like Bane earlier, you know, Fashanu.
Mm.
And, you know, I mean, the amount of stick that guy went through,
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking to watch him falling from, you know, a pedestal, you know, and it was heartbreaking to watch, you know, as a football fan, you know, and as a human being, you know. I'm not gay, I am heterosexual, and I don't have an opinion on other people's sexuality. Do what you got to do, mate. Just don't involve me. That's all I ask, you know. But, you know, like Fashanu, I thought he was a wonderful player. And, you know, when the rumours started, because it was rumours first of all, I mean, there were people threatening to kill him. There were people threatening to like harm his family. What? Because the guy chooses to sleep with another man instead of a woman. Mate, get real. You know, that kind of hatred and that kind of discrimination not needed and you know, this taking the knee, that's not needed. I understand it, but it shouldn't be needed.
Big
You
on
know,
Sword, for
or it
example,
shouldn't
on
have
that as
been
well.
needed.
Mm.
Actually, the thing is, this is what makes me laugh by men, right? Men calling out gay men, right? They don't like it, you know, call it all these horrible names and everything, right? But, right, let's call it, you get blokes who love to see two women together. Yeah. So you're absolutely faceless about that, because at the end of the day, whatever demeanor, whatever your gender is, whatever you want to do behind closed doors, that's your life. That's up to you. I don't give a shit about it. I know gay people. I know lesbians,
They're
right?
lovely. Gay people are lovely.
And I haven't got a problem with it.
I'm having a problem with
I
my
haven't got a problem
equipment.
with it.
Hang on a
If
minute.
that's what you want to do, man.
Still
get
hear
on
you, Fuzzy. Budgie, still hear you.
But the fact remains is, why is it so upsetting people? Because the
Yeah.
world has changed. That is the way the world we live in now. And it's moved on, and we got to live with it. Because not me, not any of us here, not anybody in the chat is ever going to change it. It is what it is. And so just move on, get a life, and shut up. Because it is how the world is.
That's it, and it's part of it now, and that's what we do. So you know, we move on from there. So we're going to the next subject, and this is aimed at you, Fuzzy, because you also must be, you know, happy because now Mr. Radcliffe is now a part owner of your club.
Well, I was happy until yesterday happened. Now I'm not so happy. It's taking the shine off of it. It's like lovely golden statues just being delivered through the front door, and then some little rat bastards decided to take a dump right next to it. It's like, you spoiled the view. You've ruined my happiness. But yeah, it's definitely, we could probably put a label on it. So yeah, it's beginning of something new. Whether it's like great new or good new, okay new, not so great new, there's going to be a lot of patience, I think, needed. And I think the whole mood from before yesterday to it, everyone's like, yeah, we're ready to go. Manchester United will be on the way back. Yesterday happens and everyone's just like, mate, this club is finished. We're done. It's all over. And already there's people that are sort of looking now towards Ineos just off the back of one result saying, hey, look, you see these problems, what you going to do to fix them? And I think still very, very early doors, that we've got a huge amount of work that needs to be done. Not all of it's going to be done overnight. Some of these things, these factors that we're annoyed about with at the moment, it could take, you know, a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years. Ideally, Ineos want us to be competing for titles within 3 years. So that's something time frame wise to think about. So we can't expect perfection right away. I suppose the question really is, what does Ineos do, or Sergeant Ratcliffe do, with the current situation, with current manager, current squad, and this dilemma between, you know, do we sack the manager and go a different direction, or do you back that manager and try and kickstart your era at the club with that manager in mind? I think there's definitely a very distinguished split between people that are just sick and tired of watching Ten Hag because they say the guy ain't got any style of play, nobody knows what his tactics are. To be quite frankly honest, we haven't had a style for 10 years, and we've had that many different managers. There's been no tactics for 10 years, so I don't really know why people are so adamant about style. Because you get a manager come in, we talk about he's going to bring great style, and then 1 year later we're talking about there's no style. We're getting by in games. We're just surviving, and it's the same old story. But one thing that doesn't change is the collection of players. And I think it's about time that a board looks at that problem and thinks, actually, there's a lot of players that have actually probably been there far too long. Their contracts are too lucrative. There's not enough incentive for a player to actually perform and put in effort on a pitch. There's no punishment for not working hard for the club. And it's all just goes hand in hand, but there's always got to be just one fall guy in this. I think what I want to see change is this new ownership really bring the hammer down in every department across the club and to say, look, the days for mediocrity and accepting it are long gone now. It's over. One person drops the ball, everyone's suffering for it. So if you want to think about a togetherness here and, fight for your brother, fight for your brothers, fight for whoever in your club, all of you have to keep your levels up. You will only be as good as the weakest link in this setup. So everybody's got to be on it. That's just how I feel about the situation as to where we got to go now. Because you see what happened with Fulham, and everyone's saying that's like probably the worst performance that we've had all season. And it's like, well, we need to get into a point where that's not happening, but the same old culprits as far as players are concerned on the pitch. It's not like we can clearly say, well, the tactics aren't working. At the same time, those players, even with any tactics, regardless, irrespective of what tactics there are, if somebody is not putting in effort to win 50-50s, not pressing from the front, not tracking the ball carriers down, not making space, not holding up play, not doing anything at all, or throwing your game plans in the trash super, super quick, it's like, I don't think it matters if you've got Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp or Ten Hag or whoever else in the dugout, because those players are not putting in the effort to try and make what they're being told to do work. So it skewers anything that the manager wants to do anyway. So for me, stick it on the players and just say, well, look, now the spotlight's on you. One screw up, one cock up, it is curtains for everybody. So don't let your teammates down, because if you drop the ball, you're responsible for everyone's losses.
Because he's interesting going by there, because I see he's only just bought literally the football operation, isn't he? Which is costing him roughly 1.31 billion just for that part alone.
Wow.
Well, can I just say one thing about Man United? Because one thing about what's funny about them is, and I think Fuzzy will agree on this, the problem with them is they've needed a lot of investment for a long time now. Say Fuzzy said about 10 years, because obviously that's the end of the Fergie era. So you stopped bringing in all the attraction because obviously you stopped winning titles. The thing is, I think with the whole Man United thing, they've been going in the same circle for a long time, and then they've just repeated it, then repeated it, and repeated it. And each time they've gone with a new manager, they've invested less and less and less and less and less. It's the definition of insanity. But in this case, you're trying to get the same different result with the same pot, but just giving it to a different chef. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, if you give him beans on toast, there's only so much a chef can give you with beans on toast. So
the thing with that though, Wolfie, I mean, according to what I've read, I've written down here as well. Apparently, he's also investing £158 million for the investment of the club, and then apparently he's going to, by the end of the year, a further 79 million he's playing into the club as well. So there's the investment bit for you.
Yeah, but how much has he taken out then? Because then you've got to look at the net. How much has he taken out to what he's put in?
Well, I think that'll come after. That'll come after. I mean, Bane, Adama's asking a great question here, Fuzzy. What does the young lad think of Ineos stadium plans, appealing for government funding, etc.?
Apparently, that the likelihood is that that's going to get just instantly rejected. I don't think the Tories want to give some billionaire X amount of money to build a stadium, the Wembley of the North, as they want to label it.
Mm.
So I don't think the idea in mind as to financing or sourcing finances for that project is going to quite come off the way that they were hoping for. They might get building plans and permissions and backing from, say, the local council, but from the actual government itself, good lucks to you. Good lucks.
Can you imagine if that was to happen? Can you imagine the public outcry with the state of the economy? What is happening in the UK right now is what is going on. And I'm not going to get into anything political, right? Can
All
you
of your
imagine?
tax money,
Can
all
you
of your taxes you're paying, everyone here sat here today, all of your taxes are going to pay for my club's new stadium up
Yeah.
north.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but
Oh,
you,
my
you
life.
forget.
That's right. They're paying for our stadium
I'll
as
say-
well at the moment.
Yeah, so you forget about that
Yeah.
part.
Fuck it, I ain't coming in tomorrow. Well, looks
Yeah.
that.
Because as Budgie quite rightly says, the taxpayers paying for West Ham's ground.
No, we paid for your ground before you got it. That was the problem. If we'd known you would have got it, we would have never refunded it for the Olympics.
thing-
no.
You're still paying for
Thing
it,
was there,
son.
Wolfie. We did
You're
actually
still
have it.
paying
We
for it.
We did. We actually,
The government
between
subsidise our fees every year.
exactly. But
Oh, fair
previous to this happening, and that between West Ham and Newham Council, they actually purchased the club, and it's only the fact that Daniel Levy kicking off because he wasn't getting what he wanted at White Hart Lane, and obviously Barry Hearn down the road with Leighton Orient, that it all went up in the air,
My club.
and then before you know it, we are where we are. So don't hate the haters, hate the game, as they say. It's blame them too.
Yeah.
I live
Where you are, Buzz.
I'm teasing because I live near there. That's all. Traffic's a bit.
Stay where you are,
Yeah.
Buzz. Let them rip down a stand and rebuild it. Stay at Old Trafford. Don't buy a new stadium, move anywhere, because all we got at the Emirates is the pictures of our league titles and FA Cup wins and all this and that. But what we don't realise is nothing. We've only won one trophy, pretty much, since we've been at the Emirates, and that's it. Everything we pretty much won, and Jez will agree with me on this one, was at Highbury. So in
Yeah.
theory,
Yeah.
I didn't want the Emirates to happen. I would have rather them stayed at Highbury and done a stand, a certain section at a time.
Yeah,
and built
renovate
that,
slowly,
probably
yeah.
built that back up because all our history is I think they're flats now, aren't they, Jez?
Yeah, they're flats. They're flats
Yeah.
there, aren't they?
All our
Yeah.
history is
Yeah.
in flats.
The problem
Yeah.
is,
Similar story again with Upton Park, though. I mean, like they started off with the Trevor Brookings stand, wasn't it? I think was the first one they did, and they were going to improve Upton Park, But the fact is that it wasn't, fit for purpose anymore. It really wasn't. The travel, everything, like the commuter links and everything were just incredibly bad in that area, and that's one of the reasons why we moved to Stratford. Another reason, obviously, is because we're only paying £3 a week for it, and and also it makes a lot more money for the Dildo Brothers. So let's not sugarcoat it. It was all about money.
Yeah, of course it was. The
was all
revenue, yeah,
about
like you said,
money.
the match day revenue.
I just realised, Budgie, when you
Yeah,
just
and
said
it-
that, and that can you give old Sullivan's number to Royal Anthony and that old Dirk Diggler on next to you, and that he needs some additional stuff.
Dildo Brothers. In fact, your new sponsor for next season. I don't know.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that though on the West Ham shirt instead of Betway, Sullivan's Dildos? It'd be a great
Bobby's bits.
Bobby's bits.
Oh,
Dirk
thing is,
Diggler Incorporated.
There you go, Gracie, mate. Good to see you, Gracie.
They wanted to extend. They actually Arsenal wanted to extend Highbury, right? They actually offered to buy all the houses in Avenel Road, right where the East Stand. They offered to buy all the houses on Highbury Hill, West Stand, and they offered to buy everything south of the Clock End, right? They could do nothing with the North
Right.
Bank because of the tube station, right, in Gillespie Road. Islington Town Council they put it out there to do that, but it was rejected by planning because it's the facades of the east and west, but they have to take them down, redevelop and rebuild them because they're listed buildings, right? They're, you know, that's
Right.
it is. Now, a lot of people at the point of time we're talking about this happening, right? There's a lot of people now moved into the area from at Highbury Hill and in Avenel Road. At the time of this proposal, my parents still had their house in Avenel Road, right? My mum and dad couldn't give a shit about football, right? Never interested at all. Hated match days. But the objections came through. Some people said, yeah, we're up for it. A lot of people said no, because a lot of people had moved into the area because the area had been sort of re-emerged, money had been spent in it, so it's coming a little bit upmarket, yeah. And look at it now.
Mhm.
How much would it cost you to buy a house there in Avenel Road or Highbury Hill or Gillespie Road? Fucking fortunes. 750, 750 grand, right? And they're not massive houses. They're not big houses, but they're commuter belt. It's easy, right?
Mm.
But the fact remains, a lot of people that bought these houses out weren't into football. And they thought, fuck it, I'm not interested in football. You know, I don't want to sell my house. So no, fuck off. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I mean, it all got rejected. And that's when the management at the time, in around about 99, 2000, 2001, they started looking. And that's when they bought Ashburton Grove to redevelop. It was a derelict industrial area. It was relatively cheap to buy. And that's when they went and bought it. And that was the demise, in my book, of the fan base of Arsenal. Because at the time, you had the solid fans around within a mile of Highbury, maybe half a mile, right? Every week, and you'd see roughly the same people. Yeah, it moved over. It became a brand as it is now. And I'm sorry to say, the Emirates is a soulless hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Hate
As
it.
Goonery arses. Mm.
That's
I mean, funny,
exactly
Jess.
what
I
was
mean,
gonna point out.
you know, with Upton Park, the problem with Upton Park is they couldn't develop the ground the way they wanted to because you had Priory Road where the buses went down to the bus station. You had a block of flats the other side from the old north stand, and then from the south stand you had basically the service road to where the shops were. And the only bit of land we had was where the school and that was. So apparently they purchased the school and the church. And the idea was to actually turn the stadium from where it was originally to face more towards the West End, basically. But the cost was astronomical. So as Budgie said, it was much more cheaper and easier to go to a place that was kind of purpose-built. Well, say purpose-built, but adequate enough.
Well,
but
yeah.
it's
It's
virtually, it started off the same as us. You know, the London Stadium was soulless. And as Budgie vouched with what I'm going to say here, we saw fans fighting with each other. That's their own fans fighting with each other at a stadium where they didn't want to be.
I mean, I wasn't actually at the stadium when any of that happened. I hadn't been to the stadium until, well, just after lockdown, actually. So, but you know, I know about, you know, the discontent in the fan base, and and a few of my mates told me about some, you know, proper actual physical fisticuffs and, you know, threatening to do this and that to each other. I mean, it was ridiculous. But I mean, I think by us getting the Europa League 3 seasons ago, I think by us achieving that, it's turned the stadium into more of a home for the fans. I'm not saying that anybody really enjoys it there, because it's actually not fit for purpose, to be fair.
No.
Winning help.
And like for someone
Yeah,
like
of course.
myself, I mean, I've got health issues, and my seat is in the last row, right at the top of the Bobby Moore upper, and it is absolutely painful to get up there, you know. But then, like, I've also got other issues where I might need to go and use the bathroom, and I've got to go all the way down to the ground floor to do that. It's honestly, it's heartbreaking for me personally.
Hey,
But-
Budgie, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you get pains in your legs when you're walking?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
You've got the same thing as me, peripheral arterial disease, isn't you?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Big
I
word,
haven't been diagnosed with that. That's a big word. I've not heard of it. No, I've got like heart problems, and I've had 2 heart attacks now.
Oh, blimey.
And I've also got
Sorry.
I've also got prostate cancer, which I'm fighting at the moment as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh shit!
you know,
God bless you, dude.
that's a bit of
Oh,
a tough
dear.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I mean, with that, I've also got like issues with my bladder. So that's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, like, might get 25 minutes into a game, I've got to go all the way down to the literally from row 71 all the way down to the ground, and then all the way back up again.
Yeah, I'm just ask you a question, mate, because you're the same age as me, right?
Yeah.
We've both abused our bodies. When you're walking, do you get pains in your buttocks and down your legs?
I know, not that high up. It's always in my calves.
Yeah, that's
It's
the same.
almost,
Yeah,
it's
I know what
almost like
it
it's
is.
almost like my calves are crying out for me to stop walking. You know, I mean, I can walk to my local pub because it's like 50 yards away.
Yeah,
And get to my local Tesco's, which is
yeah.
150 yards away. But you know, like coming back from Tesco's, I know my legs are going to start giving me jip.
Can't you
know,
get
for
a
about
chair,
the last-
Budgie? Can't you someone
Hey?
allocate you like an electric chair, like a mobility scooter, or something, so you can get around?
Nah, mate.
Like, I'm not trying to take the mick,
No,
but if your legs are that bad.
I get what you're saying, but I also drive as well. But at the moment, my car's off the road.
Mm.
But you know, normally I'd fucking drive everywhere except for the pub. But yeah,
tell you,
no,
Budgie, I know exactly what it is.
Sorry, man.
I've got exactly the same as you. I've got heart disease, right? And I've
Yeah.
got a pop aorta. So I get
Mm.
very black blood into my legs. And it's
Yeah.
called peripheral arterial disease, where
right,
your arteries into your legs lack blood and you lack oxygen in your lower calves. And it's
Right.
like a cramp, isn't it? It's like a cramp.
yeah, it's exactly like that.
I know what it is, mate.
Yeah.
You go and get that
Right.
checked out. It'll only get
Yeah.
worse.
You know.
You need to go
There
and
you
get
go.
Medical advice, football advice. Come
See,
on, what else? What else
Yes,
can
yes.
we give you on a Sunday
all
night?
Sunday night takeaway, Budgie. All on the
Hey,
Sunday
hey.
night takeaway.
I know, yeah, it's
Great
great. Isn't it?
years, man. And it's,
And look,
it's
We're
horrible.
talking about food as well in the chat. 15 quid for a burger.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Go and get it checked out, bro. Please.
Yeah,
Don't.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
take
will.
a good
I will.
advice there.
Yeah, no,
Kenny,
no,
West Ham United.
I've actually got an appointment on Thursday, so
Brilliant. Good luck with that.
it'll be.
Home is where you make it. Soulless Bowl is just an excuse for those who don't like change. Fans make atmosphere, not bricks and mortar. Absolutely. I mean, and I think that's one thing the London Stadium is starting to get. It's getting a bit more of an atmosphere now.
Yeah.
It's
Especially
there.
on European nights.
Exactly.
But
It's
can I
there,
just say,
and it's never going to change.
can I just say one thing though? One thing that I hear what you guys are saying, because I'm not being funny. It's a team that actually similarly did this and redeveloped that old ground was Chelsea, believe it or not, in the 90s, because we redeveloped Stamford Bridge from the old
Yes.
where it used to be
Yes.
like the flat sides and stuff, and we had all the standing
First
seats
stadium in the country to have a hotel directly linked to it.
yeah, on the side of it. Yeah, that's
Mm.
true as well. But the thing is, even now, even though the stadium actually itself for a stadium is not actually that old, 'cause it's only like max 40 years old, they're already talking about, oh, we need to build something bigger because we need to compete with, like, you know, the likes of Real Madrid
Man
and
City.
the Barcelonas who get like 80 and 90,000 in their stadiums now, and it's just like what the. Because I think Barcelona, I think the Camp Nou, in it maximum capacity, they can get like 100,000 in there now.
No, I mean,
So,
yeah.
but the thing, one thing I do find, history's there, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say. I mean, the thing is, though, don't you find that just automatically makes your mind go straight back to more people on the seats, more money in the bank?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
You know?
Yeah, but you take advice from Rosie. Get one of those motorised scooters that can go about 100 miles an hour.
That was my advice.
That's faster than my motor. I might always get one myself.
You know something? A pal of mine had one of those mobility scooter things, and it was a pretty good one. It did 18 miles an hour, and that's pretty fast for somebody who's disabled riding down the path. But yeah, I remember one time I had to go and get something from somewhere. I was going to get a cab because at the time I didn't have a car. He went, no, go and take my scooter. I'll wait here for you. I was there and back in no time. It was brilliant. I'm actually seriously thinking about getting one. Like they do an off-roader and all sorts. They do.
Bloody
Great.
I was going to be skidding around now.
What? Didn't you see the Top Gear when they had to take?
Oh, the mobility. Yeah, and the modify them and all that. Yeah.
It was hilarious.
And the ambulance.
I'm going to do that.
So this is just a bit off topic from football. The BT Tower in London has actually been sold to a hotel for £275 million.
Is it really?
Wow.
Yes. So yeah, it's going to be a few years until they move in because obviously, it's still got everything in there, BT wires and the staff and so forth. But yeah, it's going to be turned into basically an iconic hotel now. So
where are Comic Relief going to have their phone-ins now then?
Well, there's always room in the London Stadium, mate. They can, go with the comedy there as always.
Yeah, you know that. It's brilliant.
So obviously, let's talk about the football of the weekend. For one team, it was very decent, and for two others, not so decent. So let's talk about Arsenal's game against Newcastle, Jez and Anthony.
Shit, rubbish, crap.
Missed it. Couldn't care less about it. Thought we was going to lose 2-1, and that was it. No, we're joking. No, it was quite good. I quite enjoyed it. But obviously, you got to think. I think Newcastle. I'm not making excuses for Newcastle, but they have got a few injuries, though, haven't they? They had a couple of people missing, but then, like every other football team, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I really think we're in the right direction now. I mean, that's 6 straight wins now. That's
18
that's
points.
25. That's 25 goals in 6 games.
7.
Now. 27, is it?
7 games. 7 games, mate.
Oh, right, 7 games. Right. So we're pretty much on the up. It feels like it's champion form, but if we can keep up this momentum, because we've got Sheffield United next game, followed by Brentford, then obviously back into the Champions League against Porto. So, hopefully we could do something there. But I mean, people touched on it. I mean, I can remember watching one of Jez's streams as well. Obviously the football we're playing in the Premier League at the minute is decent, but compared to our last game against Porto, personally, I thought it was piss poor because it seemed like to me Arsenal wanted to play for a 0-0 draw. And there was pretty much nothing in that game to talk about really in that Porto game. So
I had the same impression as you, Anthony. I must admit, I thought that's what Arsenal's game were. Go out there with a ball draw, and then go back to the Emirates and hopefully smash them out of the park. But it didn't work out that way.
No, it didn't work out that way. I mean, obviously, Rail was off his line a bit. In theory, I mean, you can understand why people said defended with the mistake as well. Obviously for their goal. I think obviously Rail was off his line a bit too much, but also I've noticed as well he jumped too early, and it reminds me when a bit like David Seaman when we had Real Zaragoza with Naeem from the halfway line.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like what it reminded me of, like, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, that's it. But going back to the Newcastle game too, I was really happy about that. Obviously, it's like what I said, we got Sheffield United next. I've already, back in my head, Sheffield United, I've gone 5-0. My prediction's 5-0 against Sheffield United. So
I don't think they're capable of scoring 5, mate. I think they might just scrape 1.
Yeah, because obviously, like, you offer. I mean, it was for a comeback. Obviously, like you said, the Porto game, it wasn't your finest. And for me, going back the goal that they scored. I mean, everyone's kind of blamed Raya for being off the line, but for me personally, I look at outfield where it was lost in the first place.
Yeah.
How did the player manage to kind of cut inside and get that shot off? Because that should never have happened. You know, if you defended as well as you should have been, that goal should never have stood in the first place. But he's managed to get away with that. And yeah, okay, Raya was off his line, but yeah, always look outfield where it got lost first of all.
I mean, it could have been 2-2. I mean, look at that one with Porter when he hit the post, came back and he smashed it next to the down the side of the post. But when I was looking at that, if you actually call, I don't know if anybody recalled it, but our centre back Saliba, he was like that. It was like, what's going on? And it was. But I think regarding that, sometimes I feel that in defence. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've been playing well in defence at the minute, but I still feel like, even though you're 3-4-0 up, I still like players communicating with one another, especially within that back four. They've got to communicate a little bit more. I mean, because we don't want to be, from now to the end of this season, we don't want to be making stupid mistakes. And I for some particular reason, slightly, I could see it being the same as, basically a repeat performance as last season.
Yeah,
but that's me. But it's typical Arsenal at the minute. It's just typical Arsenal. I don't know what Jez feels like. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win the league anyway. I just think, but I'm just sort of enjoying it when it comes. And if we don't win the Champions League, well, I don't personally think we're going to win that. But I mean, obviously with the Premier League, if we don't win that, then unfortunately our manager, he's got to go. End of.
Facts. I mean, yeah. Let's look at the Porto game. Porto, we were shambolic. We had no intensity. We were sitting around, not one shot on target. In Europe, you're not going to win the Champions League playing like that. That's fact. Absolutely, the whole team was just not set up right. It was a shit show. Was Raya too far off his line for the goal? Yeah, you can say that. But at the end of the day, that should have stopped in the midfield. Why did not the players involved in that? Right. Sorry, I'll be critical of Rice here. He stood too far off his player. Martinelli caused the problem. Why did he just spin the ball into Rosed? Kill the whole move. That would never have been a goal. He tried to play a silly ball, which caught us out. Raya was okay on his 6 yards, 5 yards, whatever. And let's give credit where credit's due. It was a great shot. Okay, he was caught out, and I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming 3 or 4 players. The whole move could have been stopped.
Yeah.
Arsenal had switched off. Game's coming to the end. Their mindset has got, they're like winding down now. That is where I say Arsenal in Europe are mentally weak.
Yeah.
It's a different style of play. You've got to be on it for every single second. We're not playing in the Premier League where everybody says the Premier League's the best league in Europe. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. Have we got the mentality in Europe?
Bigger bases.
No. We've proved it and we've proved it again. We've proved it for the last 40 years. Right? We are poor in Europe. Why? With some of the teams we've had, I don't know. I really don't get it. I don't understand it. And I said on a couple of shows last week, after that game, that we just don't seem to be able to perform We just don't seem to be able to get it over the line. And we are probably one of the best teams in English football and Europe never to have won a Champions League.
Facts.
Teams have.
Yeah, facts.
Look at all the trophies we have won, league trophies, FA Cups, a couple of league cups,
Yeah.
right? And 2 European trophies. For a team of this quality and the amount of money that is spent is shambolic. The game
Yeah.
against Newcastle, I was surprised how poor Newcastle were. Really poor. We started off not at fast pace. I've heard people tell me that we started off at a fast pace. I never saw that. I saw us plodding and then we built it and absolutely just played a different game plan a little bit. And then once we scored 1 goal, scored 2 goals, we killed them. And then, unfortunately, second half, we started to sit back a little bit, let Newcastle come back in the game. And that is where they came upon us and they scored a goal. I see a comment from Arsenal Manic about Raya getting lobbed.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he was lobbed. It was a very quality taking header from Joe Willock. He took it very, very well.
Looped up.
You know, fair enough. Ray is off his line. He's coming out, yeah, and Willock's come in and like gone low, dinked the ball over him. So yes, he was lobbed, but he was coming for the ball, and he got caught out. So
Yeah.
but Arsenal Manic, you're putting down there, but Raya was way off his line, Jez. He wasn't way off his line, man. He was about 5 yards. He was coming to challenge, and he got caught.
Well, one thing you just said there, I think Jez has just nailed it about when he said about Rice being closer to the guy that actually takes the shot. If you actually think about, and this is me just speaking as a neutral, I'm not having no digs, let me make that very clear. But if you look at how Arteta manages Arsenal, tactics is his biggest weakness, and that's the one thing he's going to come across in Europe that he's not going to come across most of the time. Where you've got people from Italy, Portugal, they know their teams and maybe not as good as yours, so they find other ways of shutting you down. Like for example, with Porto, they played 5 at the back. Every time Martinelli or Saka got the ball, 2 people were on them straight away.
At his number.
They're experienced in Europe. They've played in Europe. Look, Porto have won 2 Champions League trophies, right? And they've won European League trophies. Nothing that Arsenal can compare with. They're experienced, right? And they play a different style of football. We can't be the posh country and say we have the best league in European football. We don't. We play a different style to Spain, Portugal, Italy, Germany, right? That is a different. We're all different, and all this bullshit. People, the players kept falling over. This, that, and the other. Yeah, well, if you've got experience and you've watched how these teams play, then you've got to be prepared to play against them.
Yeah,
and that is what Arsenal are naive in that. We know these teams are going to be falling over a bloody worm's crest on the pitch.
That comment, Tony, go back to that one in a minute, please. Sorry.
Go on, mate. Go on.
No, go on. Carry on with what you were saying.
The fact is that Arsenal have got to big the man up because we're not experienced anymore in Europe. We did do it for 25 years, but we still didn't win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Facts, Jez.
Danny, in response to that, Declan Rice realised that the Conference League is nothing compared to the UCL, and that's why he's not world class yet. I would actually dispute that. Now, he's not even at West Ham anymore, but he did captain us to the European League semi-final the season before we won the Conference League. So he's experienced in Europe. He's had a couple of years' experience, which is more than most of the rest of the Arsenal squad have got.
Can I just
So-
say one? But
So
I want
his experience will be invaluable to them. Sorry, yeah, go on, carry on.
no. I was just about to say, and Declan Rice has this experience because he was coming through the rank at Chelsea when we were on our heyday with Drogba.
He was a 14-year-old kid when he was released, so he wouldn't have experienced any of that.
No, but what I'm saying is he would have expected to want to play Champions League football. That's why he went to Arsenal in the first place, was to play Champions League football. Because one thing about it, and I don't know about anybody else right now, but would anyone else dispute that? Right, maybe this season he's been Arsenal's best player.
Who? Rice?
Yeah,
He's been one of our best players. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, he's been worth the money that they spent on him. Definitely.
Absolutely. Big up Steve RFC. Good to see you in as well. Absolutely, I agree on that as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on to Monday night's football. We've already discussed Chelsea's game and obviously Man United's game. But thank you. We're now going to talk about obviously our game tomorrow night. Brentford.
Yeah.
Not exactly our best. Always seem to be a bit of a bogey side against West Ham.
Yeah, we don't go out in glory with them, do we? Let's be fair. I mean, we've not had a Premier League win against them yet. We've had a couple of draws and
Is
we've
that
had a
right?
couple of losses.
You've beaten
We've
Brentford?
not beaten them.
Not in the Premier,
not,
no.
not in the Premier League, no. We've beaten them while they've been in the Premier League, but in a cup competition. We haven't beaten them in the league yet.
Premier League. Wow.
We've played them 5 times now, and the best we've had is a 2-2 draw, I believe, wasn't it, Tony?
Yeah,
Are you home and away?
we're home. We're home.
We're home. Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's
Thomas
not.
Frank
It's
seems to
not
have
a game
the one up on us all the time. He reads Moyes like the back of his hand. Old Thomas Frank.
Yeah,
He always has one
he
up on
does.
Moyes.
He does every time. And to be fair, I'm not looking at us getting anything better than a draw tomorrow. You know, I'd be happy with a draw tomorrow because that's the best we can do with them. And similarly, at the beginning of the season, when we played Brighton away, I was expecting to get absolutely drubbed. You know, I thought it was going to be like a 3-0 or something, you know, against us. And I actually managed to get a ticket to go, and we won 3-1. I'm not going tomorrow night. I don't know if that's a good or a bad omen, but the last 2 games I've been to see, like the last 2 home games against Brentford, and the first one was a 2-2 draw, and then they beat us the second time last season at home. So, you know, I'm not too optimistic. I'm hopeful, but not optimistic.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good comment from Arsenal, man. This is a massive game for West Ham. If you lose, it can get toxic, and I think it could definitely do.
Yeah.
Definitely that. Most
Definitely. And it's already, I mean, there's already toxicity within the fan base anyway. So, I mean, I don't know how closely Arsenal Mania follows the West Ham fan base, but it's already toxic amongst them anyway. But yes, if we lose tomorrow, then you can guarantee that you'll see Moyes out banners at the stadium and everything.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
there'll be people getting stopped at, you know, the security desk and having any banners taken off them, anything that says Moyes out and stuff. There's going to be a massive political wrangling as well, you know, within, you know, politically within the club. I mean, you know, so we have got to go out there tomorrow, and we've got to go out there with all guns blazing.
No, of course.
If we go out and try and lose, then I think the fan base might forgive them for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I certainly would. But if they'd go out and, you know, roll over like we did against Arsenal, for example, you know, I can't see. I mean, I walked out at half time against Arsenal. I've never walked out of a game in my life.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be the same scoreline anyway. Hopefully not anyway. G'day, Kieran. G'day, Tony. Birds are chirping 30 degrees here in Australia. Nice to see you in here, mate. Hope you're keeping well.
Bless him.
There's,
Right, Ernie.
Arsenal saying Stratford will be looted.
Yeah.
For most Western fans, tomorrow's match day. For some of you, it's Monday Night Raw. It's true. That's very true.
8 o'clock kickoff tomorrow for you boys, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it
Yeah.
is actually. Yeah, yeah.
Think-
So
The thing is, Budgie, travelling from where you're going to travel, getting up to there, that's a night.
I wouldn't be home much before 1 o'clock in the morning. That's for sure.
Nah, and,
stop
I
that.
was going to say that to you. You've
Yeah.
got to get up to there and then get back down to where you are. I mean, I know the
I mean,
pain.
I'm quite lucky that there's good links to Gatwick.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got that.
and I can get a local bus from Gatwick for £2.50, more or less to my door. Not quite, but more or less. So 200. In fact, it pulls up right outside Crawley Football Stadium. You know,
Yeah,
Checker Trade Stadium. Pulls up right outside that, and I walk from there to my house, which is really easy. So I'm quite lucky. But the thing is, if I do miss that last train from London Bridge, which is quite easy to do because I think it's about 11:39 or something ridiculous. The
Don't you
last
go
one that stops
Victoria?
at Three Bridges, I then have to go across to Victoria and get down to Gatwick.
That's the better one, though, isn't it? Victoria for you and me?
No. I go from Three Bridges to London Bridge straight into Stratford. Really
It's
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
right-
I mean, and on a normal match day, it's £15.58 or something for the ticket, and I can get on all the buses, tubes, and that I want to. So sometimes I leave quite early in the day, especially if it's like a 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday or whatever, or a 4 o'clock on a Sunday. I'll leave at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'll go down to Bow, and I'll go and get my pie and mash, and I'll do all the shit that a West Ham fan does.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes when it's a late game, like an 8 o'clock kickoff, and especially if there's delays, and if it's a big game, like when we played Frankfurt, for example, that was huge logistically for the police, huge. And that they had literally 2 lines of police officers, like either side of the Frankfurt fans and the West Ham fans. They must have drafted in an extra 200 officers for that game. They must have done.
Probably.
Because already they have a lot of stewards and police officers, but there was just hundreds of police officers that night.
So anyway,
And
Rosie's
that's fine.
Rosie. I'm going to have to interrupt you, Budgie. Sorry, mate. Because
that's
obviously I
fine.
want to get to this stage because Rosie's hit it nail on the head. Predictions for the game tomorrow, Anthony.
Oh, trouble is though, you've got a slightly better team written down on paper, I reckon. But then again, you performed better on the pitch. They got Ivan Tini back.
Well, I believe Paqueta's on the bench as well.
Yeah.
On the bench.
Paqueta's back. I think Paqueta's back on the bench as well.
Is he?
That's a massive lift for us as well.
Yeah. He's
Bloody
in
hell,
contention.
I got two score lines. I got 2-1 West Ham or 1-1 draw. Do you know what? I'll go a 1-1 draw. Is nothing against West Ham. It's just that how you've been playing at the minute. But listen, I noticed with teams like West Ham or any other teams that are not winning games, they're due a win. So hopefully, for your sake, this could be a game where you can obviously, most probably win and get 3 points. But at the minute, I'm just going to go for a 1-1 draw.
No worries, mate. Fuzzy.
I'll probably give it a 3-2 to Brentford. I think it might be an interesting game. Various things will happen. It's going to be I want to say it's going to be an interesting spectacle. An actual entertaining Monday night football.
You're definitely in the ugly on Wednesday, Fuzz.
Well, we've got Nottingham Forest on Wednesday night in the FA Cup.
Of course,
Forest
yes.
away.
Yes.
So might
That
have
should be
managed
interesting.
might manage to get two losses in 4 to 5 days or so.
The FA what? What's the FA what? What are you talking about? FA
Oh,
Cup. What's that?
sorry, it's competition that usually various North London clubs aren't usually invited into. But,
I don't know anything about it, mate.
Yeah,
We don't,
ask the under 21s, they might know more about it. Than you.
we don't compete in that anymore. So
No, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Wolfie, what's your scoreline prediction?
You know what? I'm going to cheer the Hammers up. I'm going to go 2-0 for the Hammers because one thing about it is I know Brentford are a tough proposition. Yeah, but I will say this: I do think Tony's been on a bit of form for them as well. But
Yeah.
at some point, you got to go round that corner a little bit. And I do think that I think the atmosphere, as long as you guys, because you guys are always tough. Because if on your day you can be nasty, you can be technical. So we'll see. We'll see. I just think it's one of those ones where, as long as you start well, I think the first goal is important because if your heads drop on the pitch, first goal is key for me. But I do think you guys will win 2-0 personally.
Thank you, mate. Jez, what do you think?
Yeah, I fancy to win that 2-0, mate, to be honest. I'm just very sad that we're not in it again. You know me, I absolutely love the FA Cup. I was brought up with it, loved it. Even if we weren't playing in it, I used to love it, the whole build-up on match day and all that. And now it's disappointing. I think the FA Cup is way too disrespected by teams, but I wish we were in it, but we're not. But I fancy 2-0 in tomorrow night. I'm talking about because I think that's going to have a little bit extra for Brentford.
What about you, Budgie? How do you see the game going?
Well, like you said, we've got to go out there with the right mindset. We've got to go out there with something about us. We can't go out there like Wolfie said, with our heads down. Or not whoever it was that said that.
Yeah, you were right. You were right. Carry on.
We can't go out there with our heads down. You know, we need to be on the front foot, as it were. And you know, with Paqueta back in contention, that's good news. But what we need is him with his boots on, you know, displaying that number 10 shirt out on the pitch, mate. We don't need it on the bench. We need it out on the pitch. Hopefully, I'm not saying we should rush him back, but if he's fit enough to get on the bench, then surely he's fit enough to do the first 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and see how he is then. You know, if he's not good enough to carry on the second half, at least he's given us something to work with. You know, at the moment, it's almost like we're going to have to wait for him to come on before we do anything. I don't want that to happen. You know, so Brentford, tough ask, always has been a tough ask for us in the Premier League for the last couple of seasons that they've been in it. Whatever it is, 3 or 4 seasons. And we've not taken a win from them, so I'm not confident of it, but I would take a 2-0 win and be more than happy with it. But again, like Anthony said, I'll probably be happy with a 1-1 as well.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I did a match preview before earlier in the evening, and unfortunately, I'm a bit of the bearer of doom and gloom. I think if you look at it, it's the fact that knowing how Brentford are against us, and with Tony being back, and obviously Thomas Frank having one of them boys, I think it's going to be a close game. But unfortunately, I think I see Brentford nicking it 2-1 in my eyes. Unfortunately.
Oh, Matt, really?
Oh, get out of here! Get out of here! End the stream.
Mate, when we played Nottingham Forest, I only walked through our defence, and if Tony's on fire, mate, he's going to dance through it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and he'll take partners with him. You know, honestly, he will. He's going to just rip us apart. But hopefully, our defence is going to be good. We need to start Mavropanos.
Yes, I think I agree with that as well. I do agree with that. Oh, we need the 3
Definitely
points.
need
Definitely, Lawrence. We definitely need that. And Wolfie, you've got another sub with Pepsi Pack. Well done, mate.
I was just about to type that actually. Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're
it. And
welcome,
Rosie as
welcome.
well for being hustling as well. I can see
No,
Rosie
she's
hustling
done
in the
really well.
chat.
She has done well on that. So, as we get near after the 2 hour mark, Jez, you'd like to shout your channel out, please, mate?
Yeah, it's Arsenal history and more, man. Everything Arsenal,
Yeah,
but
Craig.
I do talk and get other people on from other teams because I like to mix it up and talk about what your opinions are and everything like that. And I'm just going to say, Budgie, I haven't forgotten about our meetup.
No, that'd be good.
I'll be coming over and we can do our stream and we can talk about the old times and everything like
Right,
that
mate.
because you're an old bugger like me.
Yep.
And we've been around the block a few times. We can have a good old chat about everything to do with Arsenal, West Ham in your local pub. And
Yes.
that'd be a laugh. That would be an absolute laugh, actually.
Yeah,
So I
it'll
will
be good.
get hold of you. Unfortunately, last couple of weeks we had a lot of other things going down.
That's cool.
But
It's not.
we'll meet up, man, and we'll talk about that. Yes, it's all Arsenal and all about everything else. I'm doing a couple of streams this week. Tomorrow night I'm on with Lee Gunner and weekly podcast. Then Wednesday, Thursday are shows. If any of you boys want to join
Right,
me,
Kieran. Yeah. Sorry.
I'll put it out there. I like everybody, any other fan that come on my shows, and we talk the facts. And I have put it out there that if anybody wants to join me on Wednesday or Tuesday, then you're more than welcome. I'm on with Kenny on Wednesday. I'm on with Anthony on Tuesday. And if you boys want to join, please just shout it out, man.
Yeah, we'll do. Just we'll be up for that if I'm around. Yeah, definitely.
No budget.
Wednesday's one of my busiest days, unfortunately.
I'll get you. Don't you worry. I'll come and get you.
That's all right, mate. No problem.
We're looking for that live stream between you and him in the pub, mate. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's
We're
going
looking
to
for
be
that
good.
Yeah, that'd be a
It's gonna
good one.
be good.
That'd definitely be a good one.
We'll be looking out for that one.
Yeah.
Rosie, I said 2-1 to Brentford, unfortunately. Yeah, Lawrence has already unsubscribed for me, unfortunately, because of the process. Anthony, you'd like to shout yourself out, please, mate?
Yeah, you can catch me on Football United TV, where I used to show Gunners from all corners. I haven't done one this week. I was just been hectic in work. I want to apologise to Jez. I was supposed to be on a quiz on his show on Friday. I was delayed with work because I had to bloody do something, so I apologise. But I'll be on the next quiz, Jez, definitely. And also, I was supposed to have a show today, but the guy it went well. He was ill, so the show didn't go ahead. So that was that. So we'll have one next week as well. And yeah, if you could just like, subscribe if you haven't to any of these guys' channels. Yeah, they're seriously good channels, good content. You get good people on the show, and basically they do it for you lot as well. So and Wolfie, I subscribed to your channel earlier today as well. So that was that. And yeah, big up to you all.
Thanks, mate. Wolfie, you like to shout yourself out?
Yeah, Wolfgang Division. You can catch these gentlemen now. I'd like to have Budgie on there as one point as well, if he's more than wants to come on. Seems like a very cool guy. First time I've met him. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. Big up Anthony as well, because he's been in and out of my chat earlier on when he subscribed for the Cup final. He watched me go through some misery with Tony C. So like, he felt my pain, man. But yeah, you'll catch all these gentlemen there at some point, I hope. And thank you for having me on Early Doors Tony TV,
You're welcome,
and
mate.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone into the chat, man. It's been a blast. It's been nice. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, mate. Fuzzy, good self.
Yeah, big ups to everybody on the panel. Big ups to everybody in the chat. It's been another banger Sunday takeaway show. And yeah, it's you can find me Alex44 on the YouTube, on Instagram. Got, of course, Nottingham Forest midweek on the Wednesday. So we'll be doing a match preview either tomorrow night or on the Tuesday night for that. But then probably at the same sort of time, I'll probably have to dual screen it. So whilst I'm doing the good, the bad, and the ugly show, I might have to be phased from maybe bad into ugly if it all goes a bit tits up against.
What was wrong with the good, the bad, and the
Forest,
fuzzy, by the way? What was wrong with the good, the bad, and the fuzzy? Because I thought that had more catch to it.
I think it's on the basis that it's 3 interchangeable positions, like between the 3 teams, so that an Arsenal fan could be in the ugly, a West Ham fan could be in the ugly, or a United fan could be in the ugly. And it's a rotationary thing. And if it's just one that belongs to fuzzy, it's just like I'm just above everybody, I'm just exempt from everything else. So got to have it.
You take a
A
bottle of
trifecta,
champagne,
the holy trinity of football in YouTube. But man, it's been a blast of a show. I've really enjoyed it. And,
Good. Good, mate. Big shout out here for the disabled team. Good evening, everyone. Make sure you subscribe to this guy as well, and that great fella. That's good content as well.
Yeah.
Can I just say, big up to Rosie. She's promoted everybody's channels tonight, and bless her.
Yeah,
and I will be going over there and subscribing to Rosie.
Absolutely.
And make sure everybody that's in there, smash the subs up on all the channels for everybody that's here. It means a lot. Smash the likes because it really helps the algorithms. And it's been a great show. And I have to say, great host, great guests. And big up to you, Tone, because your channel's doing so well, mate.
Thanks, mate.
It's good to be able to sit here and talk with an old bugger like me with Budgie.
He loves to get that one in, doesn't he? Hey,
He's not alone.
wait, I'm trying to pull it. And
Thing is, mate, go back in time. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, and it's great. It's great. This is one of the best shows I look forward to in the week. Honestly, see, I mean that. You know what I mean?
Cheers. Appreciate that.
It's a great show on a Sunday night at 8:00.
No, thank you, mate. Thank you. And
Just one more. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Quick one as well. If you're watching from my perspective, because I have also been live streaming or sharing the stream via my channel as well, you find the links to all of the panelists' channels in the stream description. So it's all hyperlinked there. So if you're watching it from my end, it's a quick click away to find each and every person's channel.
Brilliant.
And make sure that you do subscribe to everybody.
Big up,
brilliant.
Big up.
And Budgie, I bet shut your channels out, please, mate.
Sorry, it sounds like I've got lots of channels. That does. No. So I have Green Street Elites, which is my own little channel. I mainly like to talk to people about why they support West Ham and how long they've been supporting, etc., etc. I do very little post-match, pre-match stuff. I leave that to people that are far more talented at it. I prefer the conversation with people. I am now going to start stretching that out to other teams because doing shows like this has given me that initiative, if you like. I've met some really good guys. I've met, as you said, Jez, I've met you a few times now. Anthony, I've met you a few times. Fuzzy and yourself. And now Wolfie, I've met you for the first time and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Likewise, thank you.
Yeah, and you'd also probably like to know that the rest of my family are all Chelsea fans. I'm the only West Ham fan in the family. now that my parents have passed away, I'm the only one.
Oh, God bless.
So I mean, even both my kids, well, 2 of my kids are Chelsea fans because of their mother, etc. So it's been a pleasure chatting with all you guys. It's good to have insight from the perspective of the fans of other clubs. For too long, I've kind of been a little bit blinkered and only concentrated on the West Ham fan base and so on and so forth. I'm actually now going to expand my horizons because, as I said, doing this show, Tony, thank you very much for inviting me on. It's opened my eyes a bit more. I haven't been streaming it because I'm not technically gifted enough to be able to do it. You saw the problems I had at the beginning of the stream, and that's just because I touched my microphone and everything went off. So
I get the same thing with my webcam, by the way. I touch the wire and it just blows up.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, you've had it there, haven't you?
Budgie, I just subbed to you, Budgie. I just subbed to you. Thank you, Rosie.
Packers. Yes, thank you. Yeah, and thank you. And I will get to all of you guys and subscribe. I think I've already subscribed to you, Jez. I can't remember now.
Yeah,
But, yeah. But we'll get to everybody's because I'm just not technically that good. So I get my kids to help me. How do I do this? How do I do that? But I've got 2 fucking laptops. Oh, ridiculous.
The irony, eh?
I know, 2 laptops and 2 phones, and I can actually do a 4-screen thing on my StreamYard just on my own, just to test out backgrounds and things.
Of course.
Ridiculous.
Rosie's put you on the spot here, Budgie. She's saying, make or break question, which Scottish team?
Oh, now there. See now, right? Okay, I have to say Kilmarnock. Sorry, but that's my Scottish team. Yeah, because one of the first games that I went to on my own, I was actually with a couple of guys that were from Kilmarnock, and they were Kilmarnock fans, and they were actually at a West Ham game because they were staying in London at Upton Park, and I was standing next to them, and you know I hadn't really given Scottish football too much thought. I was only about 13, and so these guys were Kilmarnock fans and said to me, you know, oh yeah, you should come up to a game. I was like, yeah, 13 years old on the train to Scotland, yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, I got caught at the bus stop.
It ended tragically. I got caught at the bus stop.
I got caught at the bus stop, yeah, I did.
Did you run off?
No. Never ran off from my dad. Never laid a hand on any of us kids, actually, my dad. Never did. But it was just, we had respect for him, you know, and like he said, get your ass over here and get home. You got your ass over there and got home. Simple as that, you know. There was never any threats of violence or, you know, no pocket money or nothing like that. He just didn't need to do it. My dad just had respect from us, you know. So yeah, it was great. I had a good childhood, really, to be fair.
She's unsubscribed for you, Budgie. You know, she can't stand that you've said what you said.
Oh, no, who does she follow? Oh, Rangers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, babe, sorry, Rosie. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Lady Penalty herself.
Exactly. Anyway, I mean, a big shout out to all the people in the chat, as you said, like, you know, without them and that, they don't make the show what it is.
No.
And obviously, Rosie,
Yeah,
been a legend today, you know, doing your modding
Yeah.
and putting the people's channels out there. Great work. You know, very helpful.
Absolutely.
Yep, I think
Top
everyone's
draw.
going to be going over to your channel and we'll definitely be giving you a sub as well. So we're now into 2 hours and 12 minutes. It's surprising how much quickly it's gone.
Yeah.
And basically, we're out. So thanks everyone for being in the show. And for my panelists, as always, it's been a pleasure. And we'll see yourselves out. See you next time. Take care for now.
Right. Take care.